So far in the previous lectures, we learned what is an agent and what is an LLM. Now let's learn what is the exact link between an agent and LLM. So let's see how to start with an LLM and how to augment the LLM so that it can plan, make decisions, and have access to the tools, provide memory, etc. Right? So once we provide all these to an LLM, then that will become an agent. Right? So that's what we learned so far. Now let's start with learning an AI agent in action. So you can understand these concepts much better. So we will be using LangChain. So let me take you to this LangChain official website. So LangChain is the framework we'll be using here to build the AI agents. Also, we can use LangChain to build applications on top of LLMs. So if you notice here, LangChain, if you scroll down, you can see LangChain is the open source framework, and LangChain helps you ship quickly with less code using a pre-built agent architecture and model integrations, right? So inside LangChain, we have several built-in functions. So we will be using LangChain to build our agentic application, right? So essentially, LangChain is used to build agentic applications on top of LLMs. Now let's go to VS Code, which is our code editor, and you can use any other code editor as well. So whatever is convenient for you. You can use Jupyter Notebook or Google Colab or VS Code or any other editor that you're comfortable with, right? So let me open VS Code now. So this is how VS Code looks, right? So I opened the empty workspace. So let me save this workspace as Agentic AI Bootcamp. Under this, we will build all the projects here so that everything will be in one space so that you can refer in the future, right? So let's open a folder here, and I'm going to my C drive. So under this C drive, I've created a folder called LangChain demo. So select this and add. So trust this. Okay, so under the Agentic AI Bootcamp workspace, we have added this folder LangChain demo. Okay, so under this, we will build an agentic application by using LangChain. So inside LangChain demo, let's create a new file, and I will be creating Jupyter Notebook work file here. So here we are trying to build an agentic AI application using LangChain. So let's add a markdown here. Build an agentic AI application using LangChain. So this is what we're trying to do. So the first thing is, let's try to install all the required packages by using pip install. Okay, so here we are using LangChain, and this is the version. Okay, and OpenAI, this is the version, and LangChain OpenAI, this is the version, and transformers and datasets, accelerate and sentence transformer, right? And DuckDuckGo search and LangChain community. Okay, so make sure you install all these packages by using pip install command. Okay, so let's try to run this and trust the workspace and Python environments. So either you can use the base or you can create your own environment as well. So I will be using the Conda environment. So let's run this. This will take some time, right? So it is trying to install all the required packages. Okay, it completed here. So you may need to restart the kernel to use updated packages. Okay, so with this, we installed all these required packages, and I will explain why we are using all these packages as we proceed with the development. Okay, so once you install all these required packages, the next step is to import these packages so we can make use of the functions that are available inside these packages. Okay, so let's try to import. Let me add a code cell here. So here we are trying to import the OS module, and from LangChain OpenAI we are trying to import chart OpenAI, and from LangChain prompts we are trying to import prompt template. All right, so let's run this as well. So you can see success, right? So that means this cell executed successfully. And now let's add one more code cell here. So now we will be using OpenAI as our LLM. Okay, so make sure you get the OpenAI API key in order to make the API calls to OpenAI, right? Here chat OpenAI. So this is specifically used to use the ChatGPT model. So first thing is, let me show you how to create an OpenAI account and how to get the API key. So go to https platform.openai.com/API-keys. So this is the official website to get the OpenAI API key, right? So go to this URL and create an account. So click on sign up. So the registration is straightforward and the instructions are pretty clear. And as it is confidential information, that is, it involves address and credit card information, I'm not showing the registration process, but otherwise it's easy to create an account and you should be able to move forward with creating an API key. Okay. So during your account creation, you need to provide your full name and password, and then you have to provide your date of birth, and then it will ask you to provide your organization name and about yourself. So let me show you few screens so you will get an idea. So during your account creation, so you can see platform.openai.com/welcome question mark step is equal to create, right? So once you are trying to create an account, this is how the screen appears. So here you have to provide your organization name and what best describes you. And inside this drop down, you have very technical, somewhat technical, and not technical, right? Select this according to your profile and then click on create organization. Okay. And then it will ask you to invite your team as well. So if you want, you can add your team members. Otherwise, you can click on I will invite my team later and then click on continue. Okay. And then you have to provide an API key name. So you can name anything you want, and project name you can leave as default project and click on generate API key, and then it will generate the key. So make sure you save the OpenAI API key securely so you can make use of it to make the API calls, right? So you won't be able to get this key again. So once you save the key, then click on continue. Okay. And then here you need to add some credits. So try choosing $5. I think that should be enough, because you can see $5 can cover about 2 million input or 500k output tokens. So plenty to start building your idea, right? So this should be more than enough. So choose $5 credits and then click on purchase credits, right? Then you need to provide your credit card details, your address, and then click on add payment method and then click on confirm payment. Since this is confidential information, that is the reason I am not showing completely, but otherwise the registration process is pretty straightforward, right? So once your payment is completed, then you will get an email from OpenAI saying that your OpenAI API account has been funded, right? And then you can start using your API key. And in case if you want to create a new key, so just log into the account and click on API keys and then click on create new secret key. So that way you will be able to create another key in case if you miss saving the original key, right, that you just created. And when your credit balance reaches $0, then your API request will stop working, right? So make sure you have balance in your account. Okay. So this is how you can create an OpenAI account and get the API key. So once you get the API key, let's go back to our code. So we are trying to build an agentic AI application by using LangChain, right? So we installed all the packages and then we imported required modules from these packages. Next thing is, let's try to load the environment variables from the environment file. So let me create an .env file. So this is our environment file. This is where you can save your API key. So I am saving as OpenAI API key and you have to provide the value. So whatever is your API key, so make sure you put it here and save it. So this is where you are trying to save your API key. So I will put my API key here and save it. Okay. So I'm closing this. And now let's try to load these environment variables from this environment file. Okay. So let's try to load the environment variables from the .env file, right? So this is where we stored our OpenAI API key. So we are trying to load the environment variables and then read the API key. So whatever name we gave here, OpenAI API key. So make sure we give the same name here. We are trying to read this value and store it inside API underscore key variable, and we are storing that inside the environment variable OpenAI API key, right? So with this, we read the OpenAI key value and we are storing inside this OpenAI API key environment variable. And the next step is, let's try to initialize the LLM. So inside LangChain OpenAI, we imported chat OpenAI module, right? So by using this LangChain module, let's try to load OpenAI LLM. So let me run this as well. Okay, so we are trying to use this, which is not defined, right? So let's make sure we import that as well. So let me run this, and then now let's run this. So you can see it completed successfully. So we are able to read the key and store it inside this, right? So let's initialize the LLM by using this chat OpenAI. Okay, so we will be using GPT 3.5 turbo model. So you can use any model, and we are using chat OpenAI, which is again from LangChain OpenAI. So now you can see, right, by using the LangChain functions, we are able to initialize the LLM. So we are using GPT 3.5 turbo model, and I am assigning this to a OpenAI LLM variable, right? So with this, we initialize the OpenAI LLM. Let's run this as well. So this one completed successfully. So far what we did here, we installed all the required packages, and then we imported the required modules, and then we loaded the environment variables from environment file. We read the key and we stored inside this OpenAI API key. And then here we initialize the LLM, and here we are using GPT 3.5 turbo as our model, right? And now the next step is, let's try to create the React template. So let me add one more cell. So I am trying to do step by step so that you can follow and understand what is happening here. So let me create a React template. So what we are trying to do here, let me explain line by line here. So this is the variable, right? So to React underscore template variable, we are assigning this value. So what we are trying to say here, answer the following questions as best as you can. You have access to the following tools. Okay. So these are the instructions we are giving it to our LLM, right? So we are telling it to use these tools and use the following format. Question, the input question you must answer. You should always think about what to do. And the action to take should be one of tools, right? So you have to take it from the tools, and action input is the input to the action, and the observation is the result of the action. Whatever the action you perform, and you get the result, right? And this thought action or action input or observation can repeat n times. So the thought, I now know the final answer, and the final answer is the final answer to the original input question. Begin, and this is the question, this is where we are trying to save, and the thought is agent underscore scratchpad, and the prompt, right? So this is how we are trying to create the prompt by using the prompt template. This is again from LangChain prompts. So now you understand we are using the methods from LangChain, right? So here for template, we are whatever the template that we just created, right? React underscore template, we are assigning to template variable. And for the input variables, here we are providing tools under tool names and input and agent underscore scratchpad. So which we will be assigning now, right? So with this, we created the React template. So let's run this. So this completed successfully. So with this, what we did, we created the React template. So this is the prompt template, and then we defined the prompt that needs to be given to the LLM, right? So we are using GPT 3.5 turbo as our LLM. So you can replace it with any other model you want, for example Gemini or any other model that you like. And notice here we are providing the tools to the model as well, right? So next thing is to define the tools. For example, let's say this is our task, right? So this is the task we want to give it to our agent. So what is the latest iPhone model and its price in USD, and give me the price in UK currency, right? So what is the first thing we have to do? The first thing is the agent need to find the latest iPhone model and its price in USD. And then once it gets this, it has to convert into UK currency, right? So as a human, what are the tools you need to answer this question? So that is, what would you do as a human? So what is the latest iPhone phone and its price in USD, right? So for this, we need a web search. That is to search and find the price, right? So once we get the price in USD, the next thing is we have to convert that USD into UK currency. So for that we need a calculator, right? So to do this rate conversion from USD to UK currency, if you want to convert, we need a calculator, right? So that is what we will be providing as a tool to our LLM so that it can do the same. So the first one is we will be using DuckDuckGo search tool. So let me take you to the official DuckDuckGo website. So go to https://duckduckgo.com. So this is similar to Google search with privacy protected. So it can go to any website and search anything for us, right? So this is what we will be using for web search. So the browser that actively protects your personal information. So this is a search engine, right? So for the first question, to find the price of iPhone latest model, we will be using web search tool, which is nothing but DuckDuckGo. And to do this rate conversion, we will be using LLM math tool. Okay. So we are trying to equip the LLM with calculations and other mathematical operations, right? So once we provide these tools to our LLM, then it will be able to perform these actions. Okay. So this is the task agent need to perform. So we have to define the tools. For that, let's try to. So we are trying to import load_tools and tool from LangChain agents and DuckDuckGo search results from LangChain tools, right? So LangChain provides different tools, and from that we are trying to use DuckDuckGo search tool because we need a web search tool, right? Now let's define the tool, right? So the first one is web search tool. So we are using DuckDuckGo search results. So this is from LangChain tools. So LangChain provide different tools, and one of them is DuckDuckGo search results. So we are using that. And then this tool is again from LangChain agents. So by using this, we are setting these values. So for name, you can give any name, and for the description, so what does this tool do? A web search engine. Use this as a search engine for general queries. And what is the function we have to use? So inside this DuckDuckGo search results, we have a function called run. So make sure you use the run function, right? So this is how we define the DuckDuckGo search tool. And now in order to do the rate conversion, let's create LLM math tool as well. So again from this load_tools, which is again from LangChain agents, here we are creating LLM math tool, and the LLM is OpenAI_LLM. So whatever we defined here, so we initialized our LLM and assigned to this OpenAI LLM variable, right? So that is what we are assigning here for the LLM attribute. And then this tools variable contains LLM math tool, and we are trying to append this search tool as well. So now that means this tools contains both LLM math tool as well as the DuckDuckGo web search tool. That is how we define the tools. So what we did so far, we defined the LLM, and then we defined the prompt, and then we defined the tools as well. So now the next step is let's try to create an agent so that we can provide these tools and assign an LLM, which is nothing but OpenAI LLM, and also provide the required prompt, right? And then we can ask a question to our agent, and we will see how the agent performs, right? So before that, let's run this code as well. Okay, so this also executed successfully. Now the next step is let's try to create the agent. So inside LangChain agents, we are trying to import agent executor and create React agent, right? So we will be creating the React agent. So let's use this create React agent, and for this we have to pass the LLM tools as well as prompt. So the LLM is initialized and stored inside this OpenAI LLM variable, right? So that is what we assigned here. And for the tools, we stored both LLM math tool as well as DuckDuckGo search tools inside this tools variable. So assign that as well, and the prompt, right? So here we created the prompt template. So that is what we are setting here. So with this, we initialized our agent, right? So what we are trying to do here, initialize agent. Okay. So let me run this as well. So with this, we initialized our agent. Now let's use, and now let's define agent executor. So here we are assigning for the agent attribute whatever the agent we just initialized, and for the tools whatever the tools that we saved, so we are assigning that variable. Verbose is equal to true. So verbose is equal to true means if you want to see the complete execution log, you can give true, otherwise you can give false. and handle parsing errors is equal to true. Okay, so now let's run this cell. Okay, so this one completed successfully. So now with this we got our agent executor is ready. So we can ask a question and then invoke this agent so that we can see the results, right? So inside agent executor we have a method called invoke. So let's ask our question. So we have input attribute. So for this we are assigning this question. What is the latest iPhone model and its price in USD, and give me the price in UK currency. So in order to execute this question, the agent will use DuckDuckGo tool, right? So that it can perform the web search and give the results in USD. And then in order to do the conversion from USD to UK currency, it will use this LLM math tool, right? So let's run this as well. Okay, I did not close this. Okay. So entering new agent executor chain. So you can see the agent thought process, right? I should use a web search engine to find the latest iPhone model and its price in USD. So the agent knows it should use the web search engine and then use a calculator to convert the price to UK currency, right? So what is the action? It is trying to use the DuckDuckGo search tool, and the action input is, this is the question, right? So latest iPhone model price in USD. You can see the detailed execution log here, right? Because we gave verbose is equal to true. So that is why it is trying to give. I need to find the specific price of the latest iPhone model in USD, and then you can see so we got the value error. So please try again with a valid numerical expression. So we are seeing this key error. During handling of the above exception, another exception occurred. And it is saying raised error price. Please try again with a valid numerical expression. Okay. So the way we can solve this is by changing the temperature from 0 to 0.9, and then let's rerun this code and see if this works. I'm executing this cell again. So this completed successfully, right? And then let's execute this one, and this completed successfully as well. And then let's execute this cell. This is also completed, and then this one. And then now let's try to invoke the agent. So now you can see it is entering the new agent executor chain. And you can see action input is 799 USD dollars. Now the final answer, and the latest iPhone model is iPhone 13, is priced at 799 USD dollars, which is approximately 591 in UK currency, right? Since we gave verbose is equal to true, that is why we are able to see the complete agent execution log. So you can see the complete agent's thought process, right? So it is entering the new agent executor chain, and it is saying I should use a web search engine to find the latest iPhone model and its price in USD, right? So this is the first task. For this, it will be using DuckDuckGo web search engine, right? And then use a calculator to convert the price to UK currency. So for this task, the agent knows it needs to use the math calculator tool, right? This is used to do the price conversion, and finally it is giving the iPhone price in UK currency, right? So you can see the complete execution log. So just like how we human thinks, an agent is thinking the same way as humans, right? So first the agent did the web search in order to find the latest iPhone model. So you can see I should visit the Apple website directly to find the latest iPhone model and its price in USD. And then I have found the official Apple website. I should now search for the latest iPhone model and its price in USD. So here the agent knows it needs to use the DuckDuckGo web search tool, right? So that is the action it is taking. And the action input is latest iPhone model price, Apple website. So with this, it is able to find the latest iPhone model. And then here it says I have found the latest iPhone model and the price is $799. Okay. And then the next step is now I need to convert this price to UK currency, right? So here the agent knows in order to do the price conversion, it needs to use the calculator tool, right? So the action input is 799 USD to GBP. So the answer is this one. I now know the final answer. So it is giving us the final answer. The latest iPhone model is priced at 799 USD, which is approximately this in UK currency, right? So finished chain. Okay. So you can see how the agent is thinking in order to give us the final answer, right? So with this, we understood how to create an agent by providing tool access to an LLM and saw how an agent can perform an action, right? So let's quickly go through what we did here. So we are trying to build an agentic AI application by using LangChain. The first thing is we installed all the required packages, and then we have imported the modules that are required, right? And then here we tried to load the environment variable, and we stored our OpenAI API key inside an environment file here, and then from there we are trying to read the value and store it here, right? And then here we are trying to initialize the LLM. So here we are using Chart OpenAI, which is from LangChain OpenAI, and the model that we are using is GPT 3.5 Turbo model. And next thing is we created the prompt template, right? So this is the template we are giving it to our agent. And then with this prompt template, we are providing the tools and the input. Input is the question, right? In our case, the question is, what is the latest iPhone model and its price in USD? Give me the price in UK currencies. So you can see we are storing this value inside the input variable, right? So that is what will be replaced here. And then the next step is we have defined the tools. For the web search, we have used DuckDuckGo search, and then we also provided LLM math tool to our agent. And then the next thing is we initialized our agent. So here we are using create React agent, which is imported from LangChain agents, right? And this is how we initialized our agent, and then we are trying to invoke our agent, and we provided this question. So with this, you understood how to create an agent by providing access to different tools to an LLM, and we saw how an agent can perform an action, right? So don't worry if you do not understand completely. We will come back to this code and deep dive each and every concept behind this in the next lecture. All right. Thank you.